Hi, Jessica.
Hi, John.
Thanks for doing this. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, I'll tell you what, before we get into this, tell everybody who you are and kind of like what you do.
Absolutely. So, my name's Jessica Embree, and I'm the creative director at Tulip Media Group. We specialize in helping brands all over North America and even the world stand out and break through all the digital noise that every single business is experiencing. So, we do that through print marketing. So, custom magazines, custom newsletters that we send out to their current clients, but also their potential clients as well to build that credibility and brand awareness.
Cool. There is so much digital noise, isn't there?
Yes. Especially with
I
the
mean,
AI realm.
yeah, it's. I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was looking at my phone, and no matter how many times I get rid of notifications and I mute notifications and I get rid of this, just something else is always there. I don't know whether the apps are just thinking up a new notification because it knows that everybody's muted all the freaking notifications. So we've got to think of a new one now just to get attention. It's noisy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, my favorite saying is your emptiest inbox is your physical mailbox outside. So why
Mm,
not take advantage of that as a business?
absolutely. So print is kind of like, I don't know. When I talk to people, they think of it now as something a little bit special, something
Hmm.
a little bit different because you the default position kind of goes to digital. How would you define print marketing? What would you say to a marketing agency now about what print marketing involves, what strategies it involves?
Print marketing is a diverse strategy, just like in digital. I mean, you have PPC and SEO and blogging, but print marketing is everything from billboards to postcards to business cards. It's anything tangible in real life people are seeing. And why it is so important, especially in this day and age, is because it brings that credibility to the table. It is something special, like you said. Not a lot of companies are doing it, but more and more companies are realizing to stand out and get someone's attention is sometimes we need to
Mm.
send them something tangible. That's why Costco still does a magazine. That's why you see people like the Front Desk by Jane, the scheduling app, are doing magazines because they realize the power of print. It's not a dead medium. And if anything, I'd say it's coming back because of all the digital noise.
Do you think we're going it's kind of like full circle in a way
Mm.
because like we used to get so much crap through the letterbox. You know, you used to fight when you got home from work to try and open the door. You used to fight against the all the rubbish that used to come through the letterbox. And I've got to admit now I hardly get any, right? Because I've signed up online to receive everything I need comes online, right? So do you think when stuff does come through the letterbox now, it's gone full circle, and it's actually, oh, somebody sent me something for the
Yeah,
post.
it's
Yeah.
something special. It makes you feel heard and understood, especially when it's receiving content that interests you. My husband still gets monthly golf magazines because he loves
Mm.
golfing and he'll read those, but he also gets inundated with golf emails, and those aren't something he always looks at. So it is that specialness. It is saying someone saying, okay, someone paid a lot of money for me to get this. I need to look at it. And people hold on to that as well.
Yeah. Do you think we see print as maybe more valuable? Maybe we,
Absolutely.
because I bet you he's got a pile of golf magazines tucked away somewhere, and they're like that high or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it is more valuable to the consumer, whether they realize that or not. It's why when we talk a lot with our B2C clients at Tulip, we're saying put something engaging there, whether that's a recipe or a quiz or a QR code that they can scan to get something free from your website. That way you're integrating your content. It's always going back to, is the reader going to find this valuable? Is it the right reader, first of all? And how can you keep them engaged in your content?
Yeah. Do you find people do keep, particularly with magazines, I suppose, do you find people do keep them? Because we don't keep email. Well, some people like hoard the stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
like just thousands of unread emails in their inbox, which would drive me absolute nightmare that for me. Do you find people keep them? Do they keep the magazines?
Yeah, they are more likely to keep them, especially over an email. And the other thing is, there's a study that the readership pass along rate is 2.5 on average, 2.5 people. So it's not only them keeping it, but it's also sharing it with someone, especially when they have that engaging content in there. And we work with a lot of B2B clientele, and the boss or the CEO is getting it, but then they're sharing it with their employees. So that's where that pass along rate can come from.
And do you think the sharing thing is more worthy now? Because I know we can say we share stuff on social media, but
Hmm.
we don't. I mean, it's just, I know the button says share, but like the amount of people who actually read what you're sharing or look or bother about what you're sharing is like so insignificant. But when you share like a magazine or something, I don't know, you might give a magazine to your sister or your brother or something like that.
Hmm.
It means a bit more, doesn't it?
Well, I think we've become desensitized to everything. There's
Hmm.
just so much we're seeing day in and day out. I mean, I'm horrible. I'm looking at my phone, my computer, or I'm reading on my iPad day in and day out, or reading a magazine. But I am inundated with so much information that it just is getting lost.
Yeah, yeah. So give me an idea of a modern day kind of 2024 print campaign. Just give me an example of something.
Yeah. So Tulip, like I was saying, we specialize in custom magazines for businesses who are looking to stand out among their competitors. So that includes everything. We have a client who is a fire truck manufacturer who sends
Cool.
very custom content to fire chiefs all over North America. And let me tell you, this is a very niche market. This is a product that needs to be bought every 10 years for $1 million plus. And the print marketing is a great way to reach these fire chiefs who are sitting there waiting for an emergency to happen, and they're reading about how to write an RFP. They're reading about what they need in their next tanker or rescuer. They're reading easy recipes they can make in the firehouse. So um, we have a very diverse clientele, and we've had everything from jewelry to insurance, and that custom content really is what grabs readers' attentions and what makes them so successful.
Sure, sure. Uh, how do we measure that it's working? Digital's so freaking easy to measure, is it? You just
Yeah.
bang a load of UTM tags at the end of anything and just measure it. You can't do that so much, can you, in print?
You can and you can. And it goes back to what are the goals of your print campaign? What are you trying to achieve? Some clients just saying, listen, I want to be the thought leader in my industry. So I want to put out content to my readers. Others come to us saying, I want to use this as a lead generator. Some come to us just saying, I want this to be such a great, impactful marketing campaign that they're scanning this particular QR code. So one of the ways we can do that for tracking is integrating a little bit of digital, having jot URLs, bit.lys in our magazine, having a call to action at end of each article, which is very important. We even forget that in the digital realm is
Hmm.
having that call
Yeah.
to action to say, listen, you found this content very valuable. We have more of that on our website for free. Just go here. So it's extending your print online, and each of our print issues also come with an online issue too, because we're big fans of repurposing and integrated content. Why not put this magazine out on your socials, your email signatures, or your campaigns?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we go back to the fire truck folk, if they're kind of like sending out almost like a lifestyle magazine type of
Hmm.
thing, I suppose, the way you described it, um, how would they prove that kind of like producing this magazine and sending this magazine out every however often it is will help increase sales of fire trucks, which again is very niche and I would
Yeah.
imagine quite a long sales cycle.
Yeah. So one of the ways we did that for the fire truck manufacturer was we had custom links and saying schedule a call for your next fire truck RFP, because we realized while doing our marketing exercises with this client was we had a greater chance of sale if we could get them before they needed an RFP for a truck. So a request for proposals for anybody listening. I tend to do that marketing jargon. Um, and we realized that having that call to action in the magazine was very, very important, but also providing them information on what they need for their next truck, because these fire chiefs need that helping hand to say what is best for not only their firefighters, but also their community and what fit they need for a truck. And it's funny, I was talking with our client the other day, and he said to me, he goes, I got a call from a guy who read our printed newsletter. And he said, I saw your article and the three features I need in my tanker. And he picked up the phone and he called me because of that article.
Right.
So sometimes it's not just analytics you're getting, it's anecdotal stories that you're getting feedback from your clients reading it.
And it's important to measure this for the client to
Mm,
measure this.
absolutely.
How do you get your clients to measure this stuff? Because I know I've
Um,
struggled to get clients to
yeah,
do things. Yeah,
yeah. Feedback surveys are the best thing that we've done for not only our clients asking their readers, but also us saying like, hey, have your advertisers seen an increase in your magazine? Have your readers responded to this quiz or this free downloadable PDF? So it's looking at those analytics and also gathering that candid feedback as well, like you were saying.
I suppose one benefit of digital over
Hmm.
print is that you've got this kind of like this fast iteration cycle that you can monitor something and say that ain't working. Let's change it.
Hmm.
We can do A/B testing and that sort of thing. How do we work this into print? Is there a similar sort of strategy?
There is a similar sort of strategy. And one of the things that we like to do before every magazine creation with a client is um, our products are a turnkey solution. So we have everything from designers to ghostwriters in it. And one thing we like to do is sit down with them before every issue and say, what is our main goal? And do we have a theme for this issue? Because often not, there's something, one particular thing that the clientele wants to talk about. And we build that content around it. So by doing that, we're able to see based off that one theme. For example, we work with a lot of insurance agencies who are saying, right now, one thing they want to focus on is cyber insurance. So when they start to see an uptick in cyber insurance inquiries right after a magazine release, we're able to kind of put that together using those jot URLs, those QR codes, using UTMs. That way we can measure it. Like you said, it is kind of hard to measure print, but we know through proven strategies that Tulip Media uses that it works.
Yeah. Yeah. About the content side, who's writing it? Are you hiring journalists? Are you that horrible phrase, content writers? Mm, yeah,
They get
yeah.
such a bad name, but they shouldn't.
No,
So, like I said, Tulip's a turnkey solution. We want to make publishing your custom magazine, your newsletter easy. So, we have proofers on staff, designers, and
sure.
ghostwriters. So, we recognize that you and our clients are very busy people at the end of the day. And there's nothing worse than looking at a blank piece of paper. So, we have ghostwriters who can interview you, or you can just send us a recording of something and they will write that first draft for you. That way you can look at it, say, yeah, this is my tone of voice. You can edit it a little bit, but we want to make this easy. So one of the ways we did that was having ghostwriters who can make your vision and your voice come to life on paper.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question is that I have this idea in my head, kind of like there's this psychological thing going on that we spend more time and more effort if something is going to be in print than if it's going to be digital. For
Hmm.
example, how many times do you find somebody spend an hour or two over a blog post and then they
Hmm.
just publish it? Social media posts are just thrown out. We don't
Hmm.
even know if people are reading them or looking at them. And we just do the same again over and over again. But I was working with a client a few weeks ago and they got like this digital thing going on with a landing page thing, right, which they spent like 2 hours on, right, digitally. Right. But then the booklet which went with it, the paper booklet, I mean, it was like, oh, let's move this to the left and up a little bit and down a little bit. And really, there were like 5,000 copies of this booklet being printed, and they were hoping for something like 100,000 hits on the website. But
Hmm.
all the effort was going into the paper and not the digital. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's because it feels final, John. It feels like
Mm.
you're putting your name on something. Like engineers have stamps they put their name on to make this drawing more credible when it's being built. You're putting your stamp on an article that's going out and being printed that you can't change. Digitally, you can change and go to your website and update that landing page quickly if you find a mistake. But print wise, there's that credibility, there's that tangibility, but also that responsibility that you're putting this content out and that you want to make sure you're taking the time to make sure it's right. So that's why we have ghostwriters on staff to help you. You're the industry expert at the end of the day, so that's why we need your input, but we want to help you to make sure that this article represents you well.
Yeah, because I'm convinced that the stuff we put on paper is better quality. overall than what we put
Hmm.
online.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
why Forbes did a study a few years ago that higher level employees prefer printing out stuff to read it if it's important.
right.
Um, I mean, I have papers all over my desk for marketing stuff that I'm going to be doing. It's because I like to make notes on the side. I like to highlight them. I can do that digitally, but there's just something more impactful with me writing down my thoughts and ideas for my next marketing campaign on paper.
Yeah, they say you can remember things better if you write them down rather than type
Yeah.
them down. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so what about AI? I mean, yeah, I mean it's.
I mean,
are you using it?
so Tulip's using it in a different way than what people would probably think. We are using it graphically. I mean, there's Midjourney, there's Photoshop Beta. When it comes to content, we always want to make sure that the content we're putting out there is original, it's impactful, there's emotion to it. And I always say to my clients who are like, let's just AI it, I'm like, if you can AI it, so can your competitors. So I think AI is a great starting point if you're trying to get brainstorm session going, but to have it as your final content without reviewing it or inputting emotions or case studies in it, that's where you're going to start to get into trouble because I mean Google loves SEO and original content. So making sure your content has best practices behind it is very important for your ranking.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I still find the generative AI, the text very vanilla, very
Yeah.
blur.
And you can tell when you get an email that it's AI written because it always starts
Yeah.
with, I hope this finds you well. And you're like, no.
Yeah, and here in the UK, everything's got Z's in it because it doesn't do British English. So it's like everything's got
Correct.
Z's
Yeah.
in it instead of S's
Yeah.
in it, and it's like put an S. You can like instantly see that it's AI. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I think
yeah,
the AI actually, I'm not going to call it a trend because I think AI is here to stay. It's just a matter of how businesses are going to adapt to it. We've used it a lot in automations for internal uses, and it's amazing. But I think AI has actually helped the print marketing initiatives because now that everybody can regurgitate and create so much content, that noise is getting stronger and stronger. And I think the other thing is since there's so much content out there, people are questioning, is this content true? Is it factual? So that print still brings that credibility to the table.
Do you think there is more trust when it's on a piece of paper?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely I do. Yeah.
So we don't get into this situation with like who wrote this, who are they, what's their authority? Could be anybody writing this. They might not know anything about what they're talking about. Well, do you think that kind of authority and trust build there is more that the print offers more of that?
I do, and I think that's why a lot of brands come to Tulip Media to say, I want to create this print campaign. I'm an insurance agency trying to stand out up against all the Geicos of the world." They come to us because they want to build that trust with their local communities. Insurance agencies thrive when they're known locally. Um, and
Hmm.
that's why the independents come to us. And I think that's why it's so important is because they want to build that trust. They want to build that brand awareness. They want to show the community that they're involved. A lot of our insurance agencies feature local clients of theirs because everybody loves to be in a magazine. They do the look, mom, in a
Mm.
magazine, and they spread that word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, you mentioned Midjourney, but the images and that. How are you finding the reader is responding to AI generated images? Because you can tell.
Yes, you can
I mean,
absolutely tell.
everybody's really shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I find the readers, it depends on what type of image you're trying to do. Like you said, when it comes to human AI, you can tell there's that everybody's blur, they're glossy looking, there's no imperfections. But Midjourney is nice when you can't find what you're looking for in iStock. When I'm sitting there going, okay, I need a creative image that showcases, and this is a true story, showcases a zombie hand coming through the ground holding a magazine, and I want to, my caption is going to be is print is not dead. I was able to do that because of Midjourney. I could not find that type of stock imagery on
Sure.
iStock or Shutterstock. So it allows us as marketers to be more creative and have our visions come to life when we have access to tools like that.
Yeah. Do you find yourself, because I certainly do, I tend to use it more for like graphical things
Hmm.
and creating bar charts, creating, you know, line graphs, things like that, because that's great at doing that. But less for the like the hero images, I suppose. Those pictures of like five people sat around the table all having a cup of coffee or something with some flowers on the table. I wouldn't use it for that because it looks fake for that.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I used it on a front cover of Tulip Media's magazine, and I did it for this issue coming up too, because I wanted to make the statement, and because our last issue's theme was AI and how it's taking over and how businesses can adopt it and lean into it. So I purposely had the cover look a little bit AI generated because it was a person with a half robot, half human face. So we lean into that when necessary, and depending on your vision, like you were saying, Midjourney can be a great tool for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned local businesses, small
Hmm.
businesses. Uh, do, do they have the budget? I mean, is does a small business can a small business afford this?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a very common question of, well, print marketing is going to cost more than digital,
Yeah,
and that's all relative to what type of program you want to do. If you want to send out 100,000 copies every month, then yes, it's going to cost quite a bit more. But a lot of our clientele, our client partners are doing a 16 to 32 page magazine. If you want to be more luxurious, we have client partners who are on the 52 plus side, but it's all dependent on how many copies you want to send out, how many pages, who you're sending it out to. Are they just in US or are they all over the world? So there are a lot of different factors that come into cost, but it can be an economical program for clients based off of what they're looking for.
sure. So it is affordable. Say if you're an insurance broker in a small town, for
Hmm.
example, it's affordable. It's
Yeah,
not. Nobody's going to turn around and say, well, this is like, you know, big business stuff here.
yeah, our programs can range from $1,500 a month to, again, it can go up from there. Just depending.
Sure.
It could be a 4 page newsletter to a 100 page magazine every month. So really, it's dependent on what they're trying to achieve with their content. But a lot of clients come to us, they say, I want to do it 4 times a year, this type of magazine or newsletter, and I want to send it to this many people. And we find a common ground on what the program would work best for them.
Yeah. And I suppose on the direct marketing side of it, are you plugging into somebody's CRM to grab addresses and things like this? Are you automating that process, or are you still waiting for spreadsheets to turn up?
No, so what we do is, of course, we want to retain and engage your current clientele. So we say, let's do an export of your current CRM. But what else we do is saying, listen, who is your potential leads? Are they businesses who have 10 to 15 employees? Are they businesses who bring in this much revenue per year? Are they located in XYZ area? So we take these demographics and we're able to pull a list of people based off of your criteria in the US and send that magazine out to them as well. So you're not only getting that engagement and retain with your current clientele, you're getting that potential clientele as well.
Sure. And I'm thinking sort of like off the top of my head now, I'm thinking like I don't know if you've got like a monthly thing going out or something like that,
Hmm.
and you're promoting it, say with Facebook lead ads or something like that. Well, is there kind of like a system to automate it where the lead ad information goes straight to you and it just gets sent out, and you don't really have to do a lot of manual stuff in between?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways our client partners do it. It's just depending on
Hmm,
their CRM program. But a
sure.
lot of them even have on their website, subscribe today for our magazine. They fill out the quick form, it goes right in their CRM. So when it comes time to pull that distribution list, it's already added to that HubSpot list or that segment in their CRM that they can just send us.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Brilliant. So print is not dead. CRM should be
No.
dead. Print is not dead.
It never was,
So,
I don't think, John.
no, I don't think it was it? I mean, it was a shame. I think I'm not sure what it's like in Canada, but in the UK, I think it was National Geographic stopped printing last year or the year before, which was a real shame.
Hmm.
Um, Only because one of my clients used to wrap the National Geographic for the UK.
Yeah.
But that was a real shame, wasn't it, when that disappeared? And you hear these stories and you worry about magazines and print a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, and it's funny, like, we have a really great relationship with our printer. We have printers in the US and Canada, because last thing you want to do is try to ship 10,000 magazines across a border. So we have a printer on each side. And they sent us a study in that they have actually had an increase in print in the last few years. So we are seeing some brands lean away from print, like National Geographic, but we are seeing newer brands come in, like Costco are still there. The Front Desk from Jane. We have John Deere, um, all the airlines, but it is still a growing medium.
Yeah.
Actually, Well Simple came out with the newspaper just, I think it was last year as well. So we are seeing more and more big brands lean into this.
Cool. That's good to know. Fantastic. Jessica, thanks ever so much for your time. Where can we find you? So give us some links. Where can we find Tulip
Yeah.
Media?
If you'd like to learn more about Tulip Media Group, you can go to our website, tulipmediagroup.com. You can find more about our print and digital programs. And if you'd like to find me on LinkedIn, it's Jessica Embree. And feel free to connect, and happy to jump on a call and talk about anything and everything marketing.
Fantastic. Lovely. Thanks for your time, Jessica. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, John.